Live from Jibonga Newsroom, I'm Elizabeth Knight. Welcome to Elite Lens, your source for news, special reports, and analysis. For the next 25 minutes, we examine 4 defining issues shaping Kenya's journey to 2030. You can join the conversation on our social media handles, Facebook at Elite Newsroom, Twitter at Elite Lens, and hashtag Kenya 2030. Kenya is joining the global race to regulate artificial intelligence as concerns grow over deepfakes and digital misinformation ahead of the 2027 general election. Felice Tanga with more.
From political to advertising, AI-generated content is rapidly blurring the line between fact and fiction. Authorities say deepfakes now pose a direct threat to public trust and democratic processes. The government, through the Communications Authority, is drafting a legal framework to govern AI-generated content and enforce accountability. Officials say a draft bill is expected by next year, outlining licensing requirements, verification standards, and penalties for misuse. Felice Tanga, Jibonge TV, Nairobi.
Thank you so much, Felista. In the studio today, I'm joined by
Annette Wanjiru Maswai. I am a cyber security threat researcher at Safaricom.
Thank you so much, Annette. So tell us, what are the social consequences of deepfake videos?
The consequences of deepfakes is they are starting to look very real. They can easily dupe even the sharpest eye. So the consequence is that whatever misinformation the deepfake was supposed to carry, it will carry. Because as AI is getting better, and get this well, we are still not at the end of AI evolution. It's getting better and better, and already the deepfakes are very good. So it takes a trained eye and maybe copyright to know that the source of this video or the text is the legitimate text. And even the website impersonations, they're starting to, they always look very real. There's typos quoting websites. So if it's something like I and N, it looks a lot like M. So you need to be very keen to notice that this is a typos quoting website that has cloned a legitimate one. So the threat is very real, and we need to keep raising the awareness like we're doing right now so that the communities can be aware of what is real and what is not.
What responsibilities should tech companies bear in curbing misinformation without stifling free speech?
So tech companies bear the responsibility of helping to enforce the policies that are in place to safeguard customers. So these are crimes like SIM swaps, phishing, impersonation, stolen identities, and the tech companies should have frameworks in place to catch and mitigate. For instance, Safaricom has the voice recognition control, which is where your voice is your identity. So you cannot impersonate someone when you're calling customer care to get a service or to change your details. And also, if in the Data Protection Act, the tech companies should play a heavy role in safeguarding the customer data so that it does not end up in the wrong hands or it is not abused, leading to loss, to data theft, abuse of the data, and again impersonation and stolen identities and leaked information that now exposes the customers to threat actors. Yeah.
Thank you for indulging me in this rather hefty and insightful conversation. Before we move to our next story, you can join the conversation on our social media handles, Facebook at Elite Newsroom, Twitter at Elite Lens, and hashtag Kenya 2030. As Kenya tightens its fiscal policy, attention is shifting to long-term financial security, pension, insurance, and retirement preparedness. We will examine how economic reforms are reshaping saving, investments, and protection for Kenyans. Our special reporter, Wesley Ndaradhi, with more.
The National Treasury projects Kenya's debt to GDP ratio will decline to 53% by 2028, driven by tax reforms and tighter spending controls. But beyond the macro numbers, the impact is being felt in pension funds and insurance markets.
On the target of reducing debt, first, as a country, we need to spend within our means, because now what brings debt is when we have a deficit. Yes, so if you are able to spend within our means, then therefore our debt will reduce.
As government borrowing stabilizes, pension managers and insurers say long-term investment planning is becoming more predictable, boosting confidence among savers.
Debts are not bad. Debts are not bad. If that debt, whatever you are going to do with it, is going to generate income, is going to create jobs, is going to open ways for opportunities. Therefore, the government or anyone else can borrow.
So better sacrifice today. So what I'm saying, the practical point of view is that when you get employed or you have something, you need to start saving. It can be in a retirement benefit scheme. It can be in a chama. It can be in these circles. Start saving, because tomorrow is more important than today.
Graphics show pension fund growth trends alongside GDP performance, highlighting the link between physical discipline and retirement security. Wesley Ndarati, Jibonge TV, Nairobi.
Much appreciated, Wesley. With us in the studio are some experts with more information. Welcome, gentlemen. So tell us, what do you think these economic reforms mean for ordinary Kenyans planning for retirements?
The ordinary Kenya basically are having their lives. So with the insurance, then insurance is supposed to put them back to the situation where they were before such events. Be it fire, we have, like in Nairobi, we've been having case of fires around Kikoba area. So assuming that there's no insurance, or assuming that the insurance, it means that even if there are losses as a result of infernos, then the business people can pick up and continue doing their tradings. And that being a key economic driver in the economy, it's very important that we have some aspect of insurance as such. Besides that, insurance companies are also taxpayers. So through the various tax that are in, corporation tax, income tax, and the likes, they also contribute to the bigger fiscal policies, supporting the bigger monetary and fiscal policies in the economy. Insurance are also investors, because when they receive money, they invest these funds so that they get returns. So they are main participants in the trading sector, especially in the various debt instruments that are offered by the government, including the infrastructure bonds. So life would be better if the insurance companies and industry side contribute much more into the operations of the economy.
Out of the experience, for those last 28 or so years that I've been in this retirement benefit sector, I've realized that this is an area where people do not understand it well. Many people get employed, and when we get employed, we don't think of what will happen when I leave employment. And that is a gap that is still there. And therefore, as young people, you may not understand that you will need money when you will retire. So people normally start working, and employers look at it as an expense, and therefore they do not set up a retirement benefit for the employees. So people work until they attain nearly the time that they are supposed to retire. That's when they realize, what will happen to me when I'm outside of there without the salary? So there is this gap of information that is lacking between those that are working currently and those that have already attained the retirement age. So there is a gap of information that is lacking between these two. So what Kenyans or the government should do is to bridge this gap by bringing in the education. People should understand that from the day one that you get employed, there is going to be a time that you will leave employment. So what preparation do you need to make today? I can remember in 2014, the government came up with this issue of compulsory contribution towards the retirement, whereby people are contributing 6%, employers is also contributing 6%. But before I get to that, what happened many years back? Many years back, some few employers were setting up a retirement benefit, and they were running a retirement benefit called defined benefit, whereby the employer contributes and the employees do not contribute. Until many years back, when we had there was a bill that was passed through the parliament that says that now we need to get into a contributory kind of scheme, whereby the employee contribute, the employer contribute, and that really can bridge this gap that is running between the knowledge and all that.
Also to increase our income by creating opportunities, employment opportunities, areas where income can be generated. Through that, the government is able to get more taxes. As a result, we will not be having a lot of debts. Another way of reducing our debts or reducing that debt is also to ensure that we don't borrow funds that are not needed, funds that are expensive, debts that are expensive. Like for example, when you borrow through commercial banks, when you take commercial loans, definitely we shall pay more vis-a-vis the concessional loans, whereby we are needed to pay, we shall spend less in repayment.
Thank you so much for your time. That takes us to our first commercial break.
Kote nchini mbele tuendelee, mbele Kenya twende mbele,
Kenya twende mbele. NCBA, go for it.
Dark marks keep coming back. New Garnier Vitamin C Day and Night Serums. Daily with the #1 Vitamin C Serum. At night, new 10% Vitamin C Serum. Twice as fast dark mark reduction. The Power Duo by Garnier, naturally.
Here are benefits to you on the resealable tape found on festive bread. It's easy to open and close for you and your whole family. No need for a storage container, since the bread is sealed and intact as is. The releasable tape keeps the bread fresh and also improves hygiene. No more tearing with the resealable tape on festive bread. Festive bread, dedicated to making quality, tasty and healthy bread. Open it, pick it, reseal it. DPL Festive Cares.
Trust Nivea Perfect and Radiant Body Lotion to reveal your skin's natural radiance.
Welcome back, viewers. For those joining us, my name is Elizabeth Knight, and you're tuned in to Jibonge TV, and this is Elite Lens, your source for news, special reports, and analysis. Join the conversation on our social media handles: Facebook at Elite Newsroom, Twitter at Elite Lens, #Kenya 2030. A worrying surge in violent crimes continues across the country, from deadly robberies and gang-linked killings to organized vehicle theft syndicates. Tonight, we take a closer look at the trends, and later, a legal expert will help us to unpack what it means for justice and public safety. Our correspondent, Ezra Odiambo, with more.
A violent start to the week, and a pattern that is becoming increasingly alarming. In Kahawa West, Kiambu County, a night, a watchman was attacked and killed during a robbery at a liquor store along Kiamai Road. The assailants tied him up, assaulted him with crude weapons, dismantled CCTV cameras, and escaped with alcohol stock worth 2.5 million Kenya shillings. In Nakuru, gang-linked killings are resurfacing. Two men were found murdered in separate but seemingly coordinated attacks, one abducted from his home and later found stabbed to death. In Nairobi, 6 suspects believed to be part of a long-running robbery syndicate are now in custody. Police say the group used vehicles with forged number plates and fake insurance documents to evade detection.
Police say crackdowns have intensified, but Kenyans are demanding tougher prosecutions and faster justice. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Ezra. So as to understand the legal implication of this crime, we are joined by Gabriel Chumo, an advocate of the High Court. Welcome, Gabriel. To our first question, from a legal standpoint, what does this spike in violence and organized crime reveal about the gaps in enforcement and prosecution?
I would say the spike in criminal activities is attributed to a lapse in police oversight, prevention measures, and also it's an economic issue, as I alluded severally. When people do not have access to opportunities, they look for alternative ways to make money. Now, legally speaking, there are laws and there are institutions that require or to assess and report and preempt criminal activities. But it is inevitable and it's bound to happen. I would say there's a multitude of reasons why they spike. But at the core and the heart of it is an economic issue.
Are existing laws sufficient to deter organized criminal networks, or do we need tougher sentencing and reforms?
A court requires evidence. And under the Evidence Act, touching on electronic evidence, it needs to be certified. There's a test to confirm its authenticity. Now, it's very rigid when it comes to electronic evidence, because it can be altered or doctored. Now, the courts have developed a mechanism or a test pursuant to, I believe, it's Section 106 of the Evidence Act. Now, they fail to meet the evidential threshold. That's why they're not admitted, and hence the charges, or rather the accused person are acquitted. It's not admitted as evidence. Yes.
How can the justice system rebuild the public confidence amid rising fear and insecurities?
Perhaps we can amend the Evidence Act to include an exemption, or rather exception, when it comes to domestic violence or gender-based violence, to include that they have to, the electronic evidence, that is just my point of view, they can be challenged on other grounds. Number two is we create a special department in the police force to prosecute, investigate, and enforce gender-based violence cases.
Thank you so much. And to our listeners, join the conversation on our social media handles: Facebook at Elite Newsroom, Twitter at Elite Lens, hashtag Kenya 2030. Kenya's ambitious 15 billion trees initiative aims to combat climate change and biodiversity loss, but funding, monitoring, and accountability remain critical. Shefi Ouma with more.
The program encourages communities, counties, and schools to take lead in the tree planting and conservation efforts. Shefi Ouma, Jibonge TV, Nairobi.
Thank you so much, Shefi. With us in the studio, we have Dr. Clement, a Senior Deputy Chief Conservator of Forests. Karibu sana Daktari. Dr. Clement, with the Kenya National Tree Cover currently at around 12.13%, and the government's aiming for 30% by 2032. Under the Billion Trees program, what are the challenges facing in scaling up seedlings production?
The biggest challenge in achievement of the 15 billion tree growing campaign and restoration of degraded rangelands mainly is availability of financial resources. The strategy is very ambitious, where we need to raise and plant, as you have said rightly, 15 billion trees and even beyond. Because you see, you have to raise more, grow them, and those that survive, we are targeting to have achieved 15 billion. So that is a very ambitious target, which requires the technical expertise we have. Technical expertise is very available in Kenya Forest Service to provide the extension services, to provide the professional advice in the raising and the growing of the trees. Kenya Forestry Research Institute help us to mobilize the seeds that are required to be raised. Now we have a team of officers, professional officers, which are distributed all over the country. Every county in the Republic has an officer. Every sub-county has an officer, even if not from the national government, even those working in the county governments. And we also have technical officers that have been employed in the wider sector. These are officers that provide the technical expertise. But now, for us to mobilize the seeds, raise them into plantable and mature sizes, it needs a lot of money, monetary requirements. And this is the challenge that we are facing, not even only as Kenya Forest Service, even as a country. Monetary resources are always never sufficient or enough. We will always have challenges. So that is the main challenge that we face. Of course, other than now, the natural climatic changes that give a lot of challenge in raising the seedlings and even growing them up. Yes, so that is our challenge.
Thank you so much, Dr. From regulating digital truths to stabilizing the economy, confronting crime, and protecting our environment, Kenya's future will be shaped by innovators, accountability, and integrity. Remember, he who plants trees plants hope. We have come to the end of our broadcast for today. Remember to keep commenting and tagging us on our social media. I have been your host, Elizabeth Knight. Until next time, stay tuned.